The cold creeps up faster than darkness in the wilderness. How do you stay warm without proper gear? Insulate your clothing using natural materials like dry leaves, pine needles, or even small branches. Just remember to gather these items responsibly and only from sustainable sources. Always check local laws before collecting any wild materials for use. You need 3 key items: dry insulating material such as grass or leaves, a container like a clean bandana or an extra shirt, and knowledge of local laws regarding collecting natural materials in protected areas. Ensure any plant matter is positively identified to avoid skin irritation or allergic reactions. No fancy gear required, just the resources around you can help keep you warm in a survival situation. First thing, find some dry grass. Look for old dead stalks near trees, but avoid any that are wet on the ground. You want it fluffy and soft like cotton, not clumpy and soggy. Dryness is crucial here. Wet grass won't provide insulation and could lead to further moisture issues. Gather a handful or 2. That's more than enough for basic insulation. Remember, when dealing with natural materials for survival purposes, always prioritize dryness and cleanliness to avoid any additional health risks like fungal infections from damp conditions. Next, gather insulating materials like thick evergreen needles from pine trees. These are ideal due to their size and sturdiness. Collect enough to fill your shirt sleeves up to the elbow, but ensure they're dry. Wet leaves will retain moisture and won't provide insulation. A common mistake is picking up any available leaf without checking for dampness, which defeats the purpose of insulation. Always prioritize finding materials that are completely dry to keep warmth in and moisture out. Remember, local laws might restrict harvesting certain plants. Check regulations before gathering natural materials. Now you have your materials, stuff them into something like a clean bandana or an extra shirt. Anything with pockets will work. Spread out the grass and pine needles evenly inside, then fold over the edges to keep everything contained. It's crucial that you fold tightly enough. If the leaves spill out, they won't provide as effective insulation. Remember, when foraging for natural materials, positively identify any plants or materials with an expert guide or field manual to ensure safety and avoid harmful substances. Additionally, check local laws regarding collection of plant material in your area before proceeding. Once your bandana or shirt is packed full of insulation, wear it under your jacket or directly on top of your clothes, tucking in any loose ends to stay neat and snug. Most people stop here, but there's one final step. Check for gaps where cold air can seep through. If you find any openings, stuff more leaves or other natural insulating materials into these spots. Remember, preventing heat loss is crucial for staying warm in the outdoors. So, ensure your insulation layer fits well and covers all areas that might let cold air in. Always be aware of local laws regarding collection of wild plants, especially as some areas may restrict or regulate the gathering of certain materials. How do you know if this works? You'll feel it right away. If the materials are properly dried and placed correctly, they'll provide immediate warmth by trapping body heat. But what if it doesn't work? Check your materials again to ensure everything is completely dry. Even a small amount of moisture can significantly reduce insulation effectiveness. Always prioritize using high-quality, dry natural materials for the best results in keeping warm. Remember, when gathering materials, be sure to identify plants responsibly and check local laws before collecting any vegetation from public lands. Let's break this down. No jacket. No problem. Use natural materials like pine needles or leaves to insulate your clothes. If you don't have a bandana, stuff them directly into your clothing for extra warmth. The key is to create an air pocket between your body and the outside environment that traps heat and keeps cold out. This works similarly to how insulated clothing functions, by trapping a layer of air to maintain body heat. Always be aware of local laws regarding collection of natural materials in protected areas, and only use plants you can positively identify as safe to handle without causing skin irritation or allergic reactions. But here's the mistake people make. They assume any plant material will do. No, it needs to be dry, light, and fluffy. Wet leaves won't work. They'll just add cold dampness. Dry grass is essential because it acts like insulation in clothing, being both fluffy and not overly heavy. Always ensure you positively identify natural materials with an expert or field guide before using them, as some plants can cause skin irritation or allergic reactions. Now let's talk about what can go wrong. One big issue is moisture. Your insulating materials need to be completely dry. If they're even slightly damp, you'll end up colder than before. Another common mistake is packing the insulation too loosely. While loose leaves might seem cozy, they don't effectively trap heat and won't provide adequate insulation. Always ensure your materials are dry and pack them tightly for better warmth retention. One more thing to keep in mind. This isn't just for emergencies. It's a practical skill that can save you when the weather turns cold and you're unprepared. You're out here with nothing but what nature provides. No gear, no jackets. This is how you stay warm. Remember, hypothermia sets in quickly if you're not properly insulated. Always seek out natural materials like leaves, grass, or bark to add extra layers of insulation between your body and the cold ground. But be cautious. Positively identify any plants with an expert guidebook or local expert before handling them for their fibers or using them directly on your skin, as some can cause irritation or allergic reactions. Think about it this way. If you're lost, stranded, or suddenly caught in cold weather without proper clothing, insulation is crucial for survival. No jacket? No problem. You've got the wild around you, and with natural materials like dry leaves, pine needles, and bark, you can create makeshift insulation to stay warm until help arrives or until you find your way back. Remember, always check local laws before collecting any materials from protected areas. But let's be honest, this isn't just about survival. It's about being resourceful and using what's available to keep yourself safe in any situation. But always remember to check for potential allergies or irritants before insulating with natural materials like grass or leaves. The next time you're out hiking or camping, try it out while ensuring you have the proper knowledge to avoid harmful plants. See how a little carefully chosen grass and leaves can make all the difference between comfort and cold misery, provided you positively identify them as safe first. So here's your takeaway. Dry is everything. Wet materials won't insulate. They'll just weigh you down and chill you faster. Dry grass, pine needles, or other lightweight natural fibers work best for insulation. No matter where you're, these simple steps can keep you warm when the temperature drops. However, always check local laws before gathering plant materials to ensure you're not violating any regulations. It's not complicated, but it can be life-saving. Remember, this is educational only. Foraging and using natural materials carry real risks. Always verify plant IDs with an expert and follow local laws and seasons. Never eat anything you can't 100% identify as safe to consume. Stay safe out there. Dry grass, pine needles, and other lightweight natural insulators aren't just for the outdoors. They're a critical survival tool. Imagine being caught in a sudden storm with only your thin jacket and a pocket full of leaves or other available materials. Those items could mean the difference between freezing or staying warm. So here's the deal. You need to find dry materials. Wet insulation is useless because it increases heat loss significantly. Think about it this way. Your body loses heat much faster when wet than when dry, so if your clothes get soaked, you're at serious risk of hypothermia. But if you have access to dry natural fibers like grass or pine needles, you can use them to line your jacket and create an extra layer of warmth. Just remember that using any materials from the wild should be done responsibly and ethically, respecting local laws and regulations. Let's be honest. Nature offers incredible insulation resources. Dry grass can serve as effective insulation when packed tightly against your body. It acts as a barrier between the cold air and your skin, trapping warm air in pockets around you to keep you cozy. The key is to find dry patches, under fallen logs or near tree trunks where the ground stays drier. Remember, always prioritize safety and legality when gathering materials from natural environments. Another natural insulator is bark from trees like pine or cedar, which can be shredded into strips for stuffing inside clothing. However, remember that identifying and collecting plant materials should only be done after consulting reliable field guides to ensure safety. It's not just about keeping warm, it's also about staying light and mobile. Bulky materials might keep you cozy but slow you down, making it harder to find shelter or move through the wilderness efficiently. So choose wisely, using lightweight, dry materials that won't weigh you down, while always prioritizing accurate plant identification and adhering to local regulations. Now, here's a trick. Use your pack or other gear as makeshift insulation containers. For example, if you have a poncho or any kind of waterproof material, stuff it with dry grass or leaves and wear it over your jacket. This creates an extra layer that shields you from wind and cold rain while keeping the insulation dry. Remember, staying warm is crucial in survival situations, but so is knowing local laws about collecting natural materials and being careful not to disturb wildlife habitats. No shortcuts on this one. The right materials can mean the difference between life and death in harsh conditions. If you're lost and it's getting dark, take a moment to collect some dry leaves or grass. However, remember that identifying plants is crucial. Never eat anything without positive identification from an expert guidebook or local expert, as deadly lookalikes are common. Build your makeshift insulators carefully. Every layer counts when the temperature drops, but always prioritize finding shelter and maintaining body warmth over foraging for food, especially in unfamiliar environments. And here's another critical point. Avoid using wet moss or ferns. These may look soft and warm at first glance, but they'll only hold moisture next to your skin, increasing the risk of hypothermia. Stick with dry materials like grass and pine needles, which are lightweight and effective at trapping air. Always ensure you're collecting from areas where foraging is allowed and be cautious not to disturb ecosystems or protected species. To put it simply, staying dry is crucial. Tomorrow on the Survival Files, dig for water in a dry creek bed.